What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Diaper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This. This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we begin our talks on the Bard, the ever popular class that does a little bit of everything and does it really, really well. But it has obviously received some pretty decent changes here in the move to 2024 rules, and we're going to go over those today. Before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, share the video with your friends, and of course click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. We just finished up with the Barbarian, of course, and we actually got to build with all 4 subclasses, which is great, so make sure to check that out. And today we are moving on to Bard. Now, I ranked Bard a 10 out of 10 when I ranked it before because this thing is just amazing. And so did it get nerfed to bring it back down to where everybody else is? Is it still insane? We're going to find that out today. Of course, one little disclaimer before we jump into it is that, yes, I know that this is an imperfect system because we're not going to be looking at subclasses today. We're going to be just looking at the class. And so obviously there's never going to be a Bard that goes past level 3 and doesn't have a subclass, right? So it's in a bit of a vacuum. It's not completely gonna be super accurate in that way, but it's the best way that we can look at it in by itself without the subclasses kind of skewing everything. And so that is what we are going to do, and I will link up in the description my original ranking using the 2014 rules. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'll not be using graphics again for this video because most of this stuff is pretty similar. They're not anything that I would say is sweeping, but definitely a few things to note. So at level 1, we kick off with Bardic Inspiration, and this is of course the signature ability of Bards. This is pretty great. Obviously, as a bonus action, you give it to a friend, and then that friend can use it at some point within the next was 10 minutes. That's now changed. But you can add that onto a D20 test and all that good stuff. So really good, helps with succeeding with ability checks or attack rolls or whatever it is that you need it to do. But we've got some subtle changes that just kind of make it better. So this is great. So with this, of course, like I said, it used to be 10 minutes. It is now an hour. That's cool. I don't think that that's anything insane though. It sounds really good on paper, but honestly, I don't know how much it's going to matter because most of the time you're using this around combat or around a social situation where you know something's going to be happening right then. And so with just a smidge of planning, 10 minutes is more than enough. So the jump from 10 minutes to an hour is not that game changing for me. Now, what can be game-changing, though, is that you can now roll this die after the failure of a D20 test. So this makes it similar to how Inspiration works, but it's not a D20 that you're rolling. It's just a smaller die depending on what level the Bard is. This is interesting because, of course, this fell into that really awkward wording back in 2014 of where it is after you roll the die, but before the DM has said whether it is a success or failure. Super weird and leads to metagaming. I don't like how that was worded before, so this makes way more sense. I'm fine with it. It's a buff, but it's a necessary one to make this a lot less confusing in my opinion. And a lot of people were doing it the other way anyway, and so it's fine. It's a buff and I'm okay with it. It's fine. And finally, it can now be granted to something that can see or hear you. Used to it was just hear you, but now we have the College of Dance Bard, and so you kind of have to make that necessary change there, but that's a buff, right? So even in a silent spell, as long as that can go off, that Bardic Inspiration is there as long as that creature can see you. So you no longer have to hear to get Bardic Inspiration, which is a buff. So very cool. The first and third one are definitely more situational, but that second one is really good. So I'm okay with that. Now level 2 is a little interesting because a lot of things have been shifted around. So we get a couple of things. One, expertise comes online here at level 2. We used to get this at level 3, but that's now been shifted back here to level 2. We used to get Song of Rest at level 2. That no longer exists, period. And there used to be a feature that came from Tasha's as an optional feature, and that's just gone. So that's crazy. Most of those Tasha's features just got hard baked into the classes moving into the new rules. It's just straight up gone. So I don't know. Jack of all trades is still here. That's unchanged. So as far as what the features are, you know, Jack of all trades and what expertise is, they're unchanged. It's just the level system has been moved around a little bit. So it is what it is. So I'm honest, it's fine. I'm honestly fine with it, but just a little bit of shifting around. At level 3 for Bard, of course, we get our subclass, and we get 4 subclasses. We get Dance, Glamour, Lore, and Valor, and that of course will be our next 4 weeks of videos talking about those, so we're not going to jump into any detail on that today. One other thing I'll mention here at level 4 is that we are missing another feature from Tasha's. Yes, Bard's got 2 features because why not? But our versatility feature is actually not mentioned, which is interesting. So definitely something to at least mention, that our ability to shuffle things around is no longer mentioned as a feature. So it's gone. Is what it is. So yeah, Font of Inspiration comes online at level 5. That still of course is going to switch our regaining of our Bardic Inspirations from a long rest to a short rest. Same thing there, except it now also allows you to regain Bardic Inspirations by using spell slots. So that's cool. That definitely gives you some better options. Now, is it worth getting Bardic Inspiration back for a spell slot? Not always, and I would even say that that's pretty situational. So I'm not gonna start jumping up and down for that. I don't think that's anything too crazy there, but it still expands options, so it's not too bad. Now level 6 is interesting because this used to be both a subclass feature and counter charm. It is now only the subclass feature, and the counter charm has gotten moved to level 7 actually, which is okay, I guess. I have been a big hater of Counter Charm ever since I first read it. I think it's stupid, and so it's been changed. I won't say that I'm in love with it, but it's certainly slightly better. So with this, used to, of course, we would be able to give advantage on the potential saves. Now it is a reaction to when us or a creature within 30 feet of us is failing that save to be charmed or frightened. We now can use a reaction to actually force that save to be re-rolled at advantage. So certainly a buff, certainly a big buff over what it was before, because if you placed it in the wrong spot before, it was just useless and it just horrible. So I did not like it before. It is now much better. So usable, definitely usable. Still not my favorite, but definitely usable. Second round of expertise got shifted from level 10 back to level 9. So that's now extending the time in which we're receiving actual features on top of just higher leveled spells, now up to level 9, which is pretty cool. Now it stops here, but still that's not bad, and so I'm okay with this. Now at level 10 we get magical secrets, and this is the one that's gonna tick everybody off because it's a huge nerf. So now instead of being able to choose any spell we wanted, it is now something from the cleric, druid, or wizard lists, and bard of course. Yeah, this is a huge nerf because no longer get the warlock spells. You can no longer get specific things from paladin. You can no longer get specific things from the sorcerer if there was something specific from sorcerer that you wanted. There's definitely a lot of restrictions here. Of course, warlock got some really cool crazy stuff that normally would work well here, and you can't do that anymore. So yeah, it's a huge nerf. It's still a very good feature because you have the wizard list. The wizard list is still really good, but it cuts out a lot of those signature warlock spells and a lot of those signature paladin spells, and even some ranger spells. Although who's taking ranger spells? But yeah, it's cutting out a lot of that OP stuff for those half casters. So yeah, definitely a huge nerf. I'm sure everyone is upset about that, but it is what it is, and honestly, I think it needed to happen. I think it needed to happen. It is what it is. Then we jump to level 18 with Superior Inspiration. This used to be our capstone at level 20, but of course everything got shifted around here, and so this actually gets shifted backwards, and now we can gain 2 uses of Bardic Inspiration instead of 1. Definitely good. Definitely very, very good. Makes it, of course, more useful in combat. again, why the change from 10 minutes to an hour matters so much less, but still not bad. Gives me 2. I'm okay with that. Of course, level 19, epic boons. Everybody does that. And now level 20, we have a new capstone, and that is called Words of Creation. So now we always have power word heal and power word kill prepared. Cool. Love that. And we can also possibly target 2 creatures with those spells. And we can also possibly target 2 creatures with those spells. Really, really good. That's really good. That's really good. So now that the fact that I get both Superior Inspiration and this, I'm pretty happy about that. So that's really cool. So overall, how do we feel? There are some good things and there's some weird things, and some things that are definitely nerfs. I don't think that this thing is bad by any means. I still think it's very, very strong. You still have an incredible spell list. You still have really good subclass options that we'll be talking about in the future. Your Bardic Inspiration overall got buffed. You, of course, get some things shifted around. You get expertise earlier, which is never going to be a bad thing. Counter Charm got buffed. Basically, the biggest thing is magical secrets, and a lot of people are going to be really upset by that because it does take away those signature spells from some of your half-casters and of course your sorcerer and your warlock and all that good stuff. So yeah, a little unfortunate in that way, but overall I don't think this is bad. I don't think that this is something that's going to be gutting the class. I don't think this class is going to be falling in rankings really hardly at all. I just think it's a little bit better balanced to what the best class should be. And so I do think that this still stays at a 10 out of 10. I think it's a slightly lower 10 out of 10, but I do think that it is still a fantastic class. It's still a full caster. You still get access to a ton of stuff. You still get all these crazy spells that you can customize with. And let's be real, the cleric spell list is still insane. The wizard spell list is still insane. You're still getting all these amazing things, and you got buffed in some ways. And so it's fine. It's honestly fine. This is still a 10 out of 10 overall. So starting next week, we're going to be covering a brand new subclass with the College of Dance, and I'm looking forward to that. And of course, we're continuing with KPL, the Pokemon Draft League, where we have taken only Pokemon that Markiplier would smash. Until next time, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.